and welcome to Earthfile. I'm Chimeze Obi Wagu. Following the adoption of the National Water Supply and Sanitation Policy in January 2000, the Nigerian government considered the provision of water supply services to be the domain of the federal, state and local governments. Out of the 85 million people living in urban and semi-urban areas, less than half have reasonable access to potable water supply. Many urban households end up purchasing water from private vendors at a higher price than the public supply. Our attention this week is on the sustainability of potable water supply in Lagos and Kano states, which are the two major commercial cities in Nigeria.
Kano State is located in the northwestern region of Nigeria with a population of 9,383,682 people. That's according to the National Population Commission in the 2006 census. The state has a total land mass of 20,131 kilometers square, and it is bounded by Katsina State to the west, Kaduna State to the southwest, and by Jigawa to the east and Bauchi in the southeast. Provision of potable water supply for its citizenry is facing some challenges because of increasing population growth, urbanization, budgetary constraints, and imperatives of development and social equity, which in turn affect water supply tremendously in the city. The first Water Resources Development Plan covered between the 1968 to 1980. This plan eventually resulted into construction of 22 dams in the state, and water in these reservoirs becomes the source of water supply to various water treatment plants and irrigation systems. This makes Kano State the one with the highest number of constructed dams in Nigeria.
Kano is strictly a semi-arid environment, and most of the water usage there is dependent on the rainfall. They have shorter period of rainfall. By volume or amount, it's not as high as Lagos. So it's a key problem there. And if you look at the budget of Kano, you see how much they've been spending to making sure that the water supply system is upgraded. And when you look at that, Kano is it's not playing within a favorable, tough like in Lagos.
Kano is another commercial center, and according to official population figures, the second most populous city in Nigeria. They are lucky there too. They are well drained. There's fresh water supply in Kano. It doesn't have the same challenge as we have in Lagos because the fresh water is real fresh water. There's no percentage of brackishness. It's fresh water. Again, there has to be a clear determination to supply water to all inhabitants of Kano. Whether in Kano it will be all surface water, I cannot answer that question. It could also be groundwater, because their groundwater there is also fresh. You may have to go as deep as looking for oil, but you get your freshwater aquifer combined with surface water to supply Kano with the population of Kano with the freshwater required.
Some of these dams are Chalawa Gorge Dam, Tiga Dam, Thomas, Watari Dam, and Kusala Dam. The two biggest rivers can be found in Kano State. They are dammed to store huge amounts of water in surface reservoirs throughout the year. Tiga and Chalawa dams are among the largest dams in Africa. These two dams were constructed by the state government in the 1970s. These are some of the water treatment plants and date of establishment in Kano State. The state has a huge number of water bodies such as rivers, streams, and abundant subsurface water which exist in several parts of the state.
There's a lot of irrigation projects in Kano, which shows that really the quality of the fresh water is good, because Kano is good for agriculture. But just as you have in Lagos, people abuse the water course by dumping garbage, dumping waste, in fact, doing open defecation and so on and so forth. So it's the same disease. What we need to do is, again, tackle our hygiene issues, provide toilets, public toilets, ensure that our wastes are properly collected and secured, and our industries don't discharge raw effluents into these water bodies. I can tell you, within 5 to 10 years, these water bodies will recover. Right now, I can almost say those passing through the cities are dead.
They have series of dam systems, reservoirs, but at the same time, it's not, the reservoir systems are dependent on the amount of water that is coming to run off during the rainy season and so on and so forth. And the vagaries of weather today by climate change is making it even more difficult to predict so many things. So maybe to alleviate the inconsistencies of weather and vagaries of weather, there may be need to improve on what is available.
Even with this huge water bodies, the water supply system is still traditionally oriented. Local and outdated equipment are still in use. Also, private individuals do engage in water supply using distribution tankers and water vendors. Despite the huge amount of money invested in water supply projects, still the supply is facing serious problems of growing population, and development of new sources of water is increasingly becoming capital intensive. Rapid population increase in the state as a result of natural increase such as increase in birth rate and migration from rural areas to the Kano metropolitan and other urban centers in the state from different rural areas within and outside the state, which is leading to a high concentration of people in the Kano metropolis. The per capita domestic water consumption, when compared with the increasing population of the area, has risen significantly, and this has already defined an increasing domestic water demand in an established low water supply. However, Tiga Dam operates below utilization capacity design. The Kano City water supply expansion is in progress. There is clear evidence of climate change in Kano due to a decrease in rainfall received annually from 1961 to date. There are serious problems in the urban water sector in Kano, as it is in several urban centers. This means high demand because of high population and high water usage. Almost all cities exhaust, contaminate, and vandalize most of their water sources such as rivers, lakes, and in some cases groundwater is inclusive. Many water reservoirs were constructed for decades in the state in order to supply water to the citizens. So also boreholes and wells were constructed for water supply. Thus, reports identify that the main water sources in the state is pipe water, borehole, hand pump, and wells. The agency's shortcomings is shortage of money and mismanagement, as well as incessant power outage. Presently, it has 18 waterworks with capacity of producing about 350 million litres daily for the state and its environs. The KNSWB lacks enough infrastructural facilities to satisfy the water demand. Only less than 60% of the demand is the board able to meet.